ગુડ મોર્નિંગ વન્સ અગેન. ફરીથી આપણે લારાવેલના એડવાન્સ ટોપિકમાં ડિસ્કશન માટે મળી રહ્યા છીએ. સો લેટ અસ કન્ટિન્યુ વિથ ધ લારાવેલ સેશન. આપણે ગઈકાલે લારાવેલ ફંડામેન્ટલ ડિસ્કસ કર્યું હતું અને વી હેવ સ્ટાર્ટેડ વિથ લારાવેલ. ગઈકાલના સેશન માટે રિલેટેડ કોઈ ક્વેશ્ચન હોય કોઈને તો તમે પૂછી શકો છો, તો કોમેન્ટમાં મને જણાવો તો વી કેન ડિસ્કસ. અધરવાઇઝ વી કેન ગો એડ વિથ ધ નેક્સ્ટ પોઈન્ટ. જેટલા બી ઓનલાઈનમાં મેમ્બર જોઈન થયા છે એ કોમેન્ટમાં મને જણાવી દો ગુડ મોર્નિંગ કરીને, તો મને ખ્યાલ આવે. સેકન્ડ થિંગ, લારાવેલનું જે ફર્સ્ટ સેશન હતું દેટ વોઝ ઇન્ટ્રોડક્શન સેશન. તો ઇન્ટ્રોડક્શન વાળા પ્રોગ્રામ્સ તમે કરી દીધા છે કે નહીં એ બી મને તમે કોમેન્ટમાં જણાવો. પ્રોગ્રામ્સ થઈ ગયા હોય, ક્વેરી હોય, ક્વેશ્ચન હોય તો તમે મને કહી શકો છો. તો જે લોકો ડાયરેક્ટલી આજના સેશનમાં લારાવેલમાં ઇન્ક્લુડ થયા છે, જોઈન થયા છે, તો એ લોકોને હું પહેલા તો રિકમેન્ડ કરીશ કે તમે લારાવેલનું સેશન 1 પહેલા જોઈ લેજો અને એમાંથી ફંડામેન્ટલ એકવાર જોઈ લેજો, ધેન યુ કેન ગો એડ વિથ અ બ્લેડ ટેમ્પલેટ્સ. Yes. For Android sessions, we will conduct the next sessions. Right now, we are focusing on Laravel. So for Android one, they need to wait. They can continue listen to these sessions also, because this will help you to go ahead with a particular API development, because API going to be developed using Laravel also. And cybersecurity persons, I recommend to go with a particular cybersecurity video 1 and 2. Then after we will discuss the cybersecurity on the next sessions, or you can continue dropping the WhatsApp message once you go through the video 1 and video 2. Right now we are focusing on a web development Laravel part. So remaining students can ping me, they can continue with these sessions also, I don't mind. Otherwise you are not interested in that particular Laravel, so you can continue with your sessions from our YouTube channels. So we have already published some of the videos related with the cyber security, so they can go through it. And for the mobile application development users, I recommend to go for the API development sessions. That is already covered into the web development. Plus for Android development, you need to go with the analysis part. So just check out the analysis video also. And for one particular Android application, start with the analysis. So I recommend these two Android and cybersecurity members. Now I'm continuing with the particular web development with Laravel. So for Laravel, we have discussed what we have discussed so far. We have just created a one particular Hello World project. We have understood the concept of view and routing that we have done so far. અત્યાર સુધીમાં આપણે એક રાઉટિંગ અને વ્યૂ આ બંનેના કોન્સેપ્ટ આપણે ક્લિયર કરેલા છે. So let us open that particular project. So let me open that particular projects. Yes, most of the lectures are in Gujarati because of the 95% people are in Gujarati, but we are providing that particular conversations. We have provided the conversations also. So just check out with particular conversations. You will get the conversations in Hindi and English both. Still, if you are having, then I will again record the sessions, not an issue. I will record the sessions into the Hindi and English also. Fine. So what we have covered up so far till today. So we have just built one particular website. Let us open that particular website first. So let me open that particular folder. So this was our folder, my app1, and we are referring that particular tutorial. I have already prepared the tutorial of the Laravel. So we are referring this particular tutorial right now. So Laravel tutorial is already available on my website. So in Laravel tutorial, we have already discussed about the day 1 and day 2. So day 1 is about the introduction to Laravel, how we can start with the Laravel, what you need to do, what kind of installations you need to do. For the same, you need to do the installation of the XAMPP, you need to do the installations of a particular composer. Then you need to execute the command for using the composer to create a Laravel applications. So using this command, we have already created the Laravel applications. Then we need to run this particular command to run the servers. So let me open the command prompt. Let me write down the command php artisan out, and my server will be started shortly. So let us wait for a while. It will open my server. So let us wait for a while. It will take some time whenever you are opening first time. Once server is up and running, we can directly access this particular URL. So here is a URL 127.0.0.1. This is for the localhost URL. If you are referring to the online hosting, then the URL will be changed. That URL will be of your IP basically. IP and port number will be there. You can change the port also. So here is the 8000 port, but suppose later on you want to change the port, you can. That is possible. So let us wait for a while. So I am running my first Laravel applications that we have already built in the last session. So let me open this particular URL. Happens. Yes, still that particular loading is in progress. So meanwhile, loading is in progress. So let us check out the code fast forward. So what we have done is, let me close all these particular pages. Let me open one by one page. So we have discussed about the some of the folders, like we have discussed the route resources folder. Inside that resources, we have discussed about the view folder. So inside the view folder, our all view will be stayed over here. For example, whenever you are creating a new file, that is a view. View means your PHP code or HTML code, we can say as it. So that we will need to store it into the view sections. તો જેટલા બી તમે વ્યૂ ક્રિએટ કરી રહ્યા છો, વ્યૂ એટલે કે તમે જે બી પેજને બતાવવા માંગો છો, ડિસ્પ્લે કરવા માંગો છો, તો એ ડિસ્પ્લે વાળા જે બી પેજીસ હશે તમારે અહીંયા આગળ ક્રિએટ કરવાના છે. પેજ નેમ વિલ બી સમથિંગ લાઈક about.blade.php, એટલે તમારા પેજની પાછળ blade.php તમારે લખવાનું રહેશે. શું કામ લખવાનું રહેશે? બીકોઝ વી આર યુઝિંગ ધ બ્લેડ ટેમ્પલેટ્સ, એટલે કે જે સિન્ટેક્સ અંદર યુટિલાઇઝ થાય છે ધેટ ઇઝ ઓફ ધ બ્લેડ. ધેટ્સ વાય વી આર યુઝિંગ ધ .blade.php. એટલે એક આ ફોલ્ડર આપણે રિફર કરેલું હતું. Then second one is a route folder. Inside the route folder, we have checked that particular web.php file. So web.php is our most important interest over here, because whenever we are developing the web applications, we need to write down the all the routes into the web.php file. So here what we have did is, here we have created a multiple routes. So this is the route number 1, this is the route number 2, this is the route number 3, and this is the route number 4 that we have created so far. તો આપણે ચાર રાઉટ અત્યાર સુધીમાં બનાવેલા છે. This is the slash. Slash मतलब that will be the home page. Whenever you are writing your just IP address, this route will be automatically called, and it will open the view name as a welcome, એટલે કે welcome કરીને જે view છે એ open કરશે. So here is the welcome view. You can see, check out the code of the welcome view. So here you can see the things, HTML codes are there, and some of PHP code is also there. So that PHP code is of the blade type that we are going to discuss today. આજે આપણે જે ડિસ્કસ કરવાના છે that is a blade syntax. તો આ blade માટે છે basically syntax. So that we are going to discuss. તો અહીંયા આગળથી અત્યારે આ કોડ આપણે ડિસ્કસ ઇગ્નોર કરીએ છીએ. So these are all just HTML code, you can say. So you can add all your HTML code over here. So let me open again web.php. Then after about is there, for the about routing, about URL, we are opening the view about. So this is the about.blade.php. So here is the about us page is there. Then here about us h1 is also there. So this will be your about us page. So you can customize as per your requirements, not an issue. So let us check out the status. Why? Yes. So now my server is started. Let me refresh the page. Yes, now you can see the things. My home page is opening. So I want to open this particular URL. For example, let me go to the web.php. So here is slash about is there. So let me go to the browser. Let me write down slash about. Enter is there. Now you can see the thing about us view is loading. Here the page in PHP we will discuss about the page, but here in case of the Laravel we will discuss about the view. PHP માં આપણે જે પેજ બનાવીએ છીએ એ Laravel માં વ્યૂ બને છે અને અહીંયા આગળથી વ્યૂ લોડ થાય છે એટલે કે સ્લેશ અબાઉટ માં મારું અબાઉટ અસ લોડ થયું છે. કયું લોડ થયું છે? ધેટ ઇઝ અ વ્યૂ. આ મારું વ્યૂ લોડ થયેલું છે બેઝિકલી. એન્ડ ફોર લેટ્સ સે સ્લેશ કોન્ટેક્ટ, let me go to the browser, let me write down contact. So you can see the things contact us view is loading over here. તો અહીંયા આગળ contact us નું view load થઈ રહ્યું છે basically. So the basic concept we have discussed so far till yesterday, till last session is something like this. So this basic concept revision is clear. We can go ahead with the next part. Just say into the yes. If you are having any questions, feel free to ping me. If you are if you are not able to understand the Gujarati session, not an issue. Just ping me right now in a comment so I can discuss again in the Hindi or English. Not an issue. Just update me into a comment immediately. Fine. Aditya, clear. Done. Remaining all member, Rasmi, clear. Fine. If you are able to understand only Hindi or English, just post it right now on a comment so that I can revise this topic. Not an issue. I will revise it. If you are okay, just say that you are done. You understood the concept. Many members have already connected online. Just put comment. Yes, there it is clear. Fine. Anyone else are having any questions? No. So let us go ahead with the next point. So we have discussed what we have discussed so far. We have discussed about this particular concept. So now let us go ahead with the step 2. That is we are going to use the blade templates now. So let us go to the tutorial again. So that was a day 1, then day 2. Day 2 about the creation of the pages that we have already did. We have already created the pages. So day 2 end was something like this, that home page is there, about us is there, service list is there, service detail is there, contact us is that we have already did. આ બધા pages આપણે already create કરી દીધા છે. So now we are going with the day 3. Let me open the day 3. So this is the day 3. So day 3 is related with the till now you have learned the basics about the Laravel to create the pages and set up the URLs. Set up the URLs via routing. Now it is time to learn the elements, basic core element structures like loop, condition and so on. Because in a particular programming languages, we are supposed to use some of the if conditions, some of the looping structures and so on. For the same, we can write down the if conditions like this. Where we need to write down the if conditions? For the same, we can write down the if condition into our particular views. For example, this is my about view and this is my body tag, for example. So I can write down any blade syntax over here. Blade syntax મારે કોઈ બી લખવી હોય તો હું અહીંયા આગળ લખી શકું છું. So I can write down something like this over here. So let me copy that particular syntax. So here is @count records, that is a particular triple equal to 1. So if it is a 1, I have one record, that message will be displayed. If it is a greater than 1, then I have multiple records, otherwise I have the single record. So by using this way, you can write down the blade syntax. આ blade syntax તમે આ રીતે લખી શકો છો. But અહીંયા count ની વાત કરીએ છીએ, records ની વાત કરીએ છીએ, but count record we need to create it. આપણે count record create કરવું પડશે. Then and then this if will be going to be work. Otherwise if will not work. So before running this particular code, I would like to go ahead to basic funda that how we can use some other codes, like let's say how we can create that particular variable and so on. So I'm not executing right now, but this will be the syntax. Here is the another syntax. You can see the things. So let me copy that another syntax. So this is the switch syntax. You can see the things. If it is a switch, $I is there. In $I, suppose you are passing the 1, then first case is there, 2, then second case is there. then default one is the default case is there. So this is the switch will be there. Let us go ahead with a for loop. So here is a for loop. So here is $I is equal to 0, $I less than or equal to 10, $I plus plus, and here is the particular display value that we have already discussed. To display something on a screen, એટલે કે echo કરવું છે, PHP ની અંદર આપણે echo કરીએ છીએ એવી રીતે. suppose you want to display something on a screen using the Laravel, then you need to use the curly braces. તમારે અહીંયા આગળ curly bracket utilize કરવાના છે basically. So that you need to utilize it. For loop ની અંદર આ લખેલું છે particular $I is equal to 0, then I less than or equal to 10, and here is the I display. Let me remove this particular code temporary. Let me put down just for loop over here, and let me run this about view via about URL, about routing. About route માંથી particular about view મારું call થશે. So let me go to the about. Let me write down about. You can see the things 0 to 9 is displaying over here. So this is the looping structure. I can say I am using right now for loop. What I have did is just I have written the for loop. In case of the PHP, what you are writing, PHP ની આપણે વાત કરીએ તો PHP માં તમે શું લખો છો? આ સેમ કોડ ને મારે PHP માં રન કરવો હોય તો ડિફરન્સિએશન કેટલો થશે? તો કે ઈ કેસમાં તમે 4 થી ડાયરેક્ટ સ્ટાર્ટ કરો છો, એન્ડ 4 નથી આવતું, તમારા માટે કર્લી બ્રેકેટ્સ આવે છે અને તમે ઇકોમાં $I ને ડિસ્પ્લે કરી દો છો. But in case of Laravel, you need to write down the @ then 4 will be there, then @ and 4 will be there. એટલે કે તમારે @4 લખવાનું છે સિન્ટેક્સ માં, અને 4 એન્ડિંગ કરવું હોય ત્યાં તમારે @ 4 લખવાનું છે. સો for loop તમારી આટલી સ્ટ્રક્ચર બદલાશે. રેસ્ટ ઓફ ધ structures are as it is to core PHP. જે તમે PHP માં લર્નિંગ કરેલું છે સેમ સ્ટ્રક્ચર ઇઝ ઓવર હિયર. તો for loop નો કોન્સેપ્ટ ક્લિયર થયો દરેકને, how to use the for loop in a Laravel. That is a blade template. આને કહેવામાં આવે છે blade template, BLADE templates. તો કોન્સેપ્ટ ક્લિયર થાય છે? મને કોમેન્ટમાં જણાવો કે for loop concept is clear. If anyone are only able to understand Hindi or English, you can also write down into the comment if you are having any questions, doubts. So I will revise it, not an issue. Fine. So most of the member has done clear. Fine. So this is the for loop example. So let us go ahead with the next point. Suppose you want to use the for each loop. Let's say suppose you are using the array. તમે કદાચ array utilize કરો છો તો in array case you can use the for each loop also. So this is the example of for each loop. So you can use it. You can create the array using the PHP, and then you can utilize that particular array for using for each loop. For each loop ની મદદથી તમે ડેટાની પ્રેક્ટિસ કરી શકો છો. કોઈ મને યાદ કરાવી શકશે કે મેં વેબ ડેવલપમેન્ટમાં for each loop ક્યાં આગળ યુટિલાઇઝ કરી હતી? કયા વિડિયોમાં અથવા કયા પોર્શન માટે યુટિલાઇઝ કરી હતી? એનીબડી? In which item we have used the for loop during the web development core PHP session? કોઈને યાદ છે કે for each loop આપણે ક્યારે યુટિલાઇઝ કરી હતી? એક જગ્યાએ યુટિલાઇઝ કરેલી હતી આપણે for each loop. જો તમે બધા વિડિયોને ક્લિયરલી જોયા હશે, you have gone through the proper understanding of all the video, then you can able to identify it out. તો તમને ખ્યાલ આવશે કે for each loop આપણે ઓલરેડી એક જગ્યાએ યુટિલાઇઝ કરેલી હતી. કઈ વાંધો નહીં, યાદ આવે ત્યારે મને કોમેન્ટમાં જણાવજો. Then after while is there, password no. પાસવર્ડમાં for each loop નહીં આવે. For each loop will be there whenever you are using the array. તમે જ્યારે array નો concept utilize કરો છો, at the time for loop is used. For each loop, sorry. So when we have used the array in our web programming using core PHP, we have used somewhere. If I remember you, if I would like to give you the hint, I can say that whenever you are adding the multiple items, at the time for loop is at the time array is used, and at the time in a coding part we have used the for each loop. તમને હું વિડિયો રિકોલિંગ કરાવડાવું કે કયા વિડિયોની હું વાત કરું છું તો તમને એક્ઝેક્ટલી આઈડિયા આવી જશે. કે ફોર ઇચ લૂપ આપણે ઓલરેડી ત્યાં યુટિલાઇઝ કરી છે, બટ ધેટ વોઝ ઓફ ધ કોર પીએચપી. ઈ પાર્ટ આપણો હતો કોર પીએચપી નો હતો, અહીંયા આપણે લારાવેલ ડિસ્કસ કરી રહ્યા છીએ. યસ, પ્રોડક્ટમાં બી સ્પેસિફિકલી કઈ જગ્યાએ યુટિલાઇઝ કરી રહ્યા છે? સો કે વેન એવર વી વુડ લાઈક ટુ એડ મલ્ટિપલ આઇટમ્સ, એટલે કે ડાયનેમિકલી આપણે જ્યારે રો એડ કરી રહ્યા છે, એટ ધ ટાઈમ વી આર યુઝિંગ ધેટ પર્ટિક્યુલર concepts. So let me show you. So here is example how to use core PHP. How to use array. So program number 23. So in this particular program we have used the array. So during that particular array we have used for each loop. So suppose you want to learn that for each loop for the theoretical portions of the core PHP, you can refer this 23 video. So let me close it. Now let us go ahead. Now I want to use the while loop. So this is the while loop samples. Let me add the while loop also. Let me run the projects. So here I am opening that particular about URL again, right click, reload. So what is the value of while? Okay, I less than 10. Why it is not executing? Because it is already 10 over here. So the particular value is already changed over here. So we need to update that particular $I is equal to something, let's say 0. So it will reassign that particular value to 0, but here it is not executing. Here it is displaying $I is equal to 0, because whenever you would like to write the PHP code into the Laravel, you need to use some other syntax. So let us go into that particular deep drive. So how we can write down direct variable? So for the same, you need to check out the complete official documentation. So here is the link I have given over here. So let me open that particular link. So this is the Blade template. Here make sure to select your Laravel version. Whatever the Laravel version you are using, you need to select that Laravel version from these particular options. Right now I am displaying of the 9x Laravel versions. So here is everything, detailed explanations of the Blade templates. So how you can use the Blade templates and what are the Blade templates, how many types of syntax are available. So this is everything is mentioned over here. So you need to check out this particular complete documentation. So let us go through the some of the details. Blade is the simple yet powerful template engine that is included with the Laravel. वो Laravel के साथ already included है. Whenever you are installing that Laravel ने first, whenever you are executing first command for the Laravel to create a project, Blade syntax is already included in that. Unlike some PHP template engine, Blade does not restrict you from the using a plain HTML code in your templates. Means you can use the plain HTML code also. All Blade templates are compiled into the plain HTML code and catch until they are modified. Meaning Blade adds essential zero overhead to your application. Blade template uses the .blade.php file. એટલા માટે આપણે ફાઇલનું એક્સટેન્શન .blade.php આપેલું છે. તમે વ્યૂની અંદર જોઈ લો. Just check out all the files from the view folder. So we are using about.blade.php. That means we are ending with .blade.php. એટલે Blade engine ને ખબર પડી જાય કે we are using the Blade templates. So here it is mentioned are typically stored into the resources and view folder. તો આપણે resource ની અંદર view folder માં જ આપણે store કરેલું છે. Blade view may be written from routes or controller using the global view helper. View નું એક helper છે global, એના મદદથી આ display થાય છે. Of course, as I mentioned in the documentation, view may not be passed to the Blade view using the view helper's second argument. Supercharge Blade with the Livewire. In case suppose you want to use the Livewire also, you can use it, but Livewire we are not discussing right now. We are skipping that part. Displaying data, you may display the data that is passed to the Blade view by wrapping the variable in curly braces. તમારે curly braces ની અંદર particular bracket માં variable ને લખવાના છે, તો that will be displayed as a output. તમે curly bracket માંથી output display કરી શકો છો. આ બી આપણે already જોઈ લીધું છે. કઈ જગ્યાએ જોયું છે? તો કે ગઈકાલે જે આપણે સર્વિસ વાળું પેજ બનાવેલું હતું એમાં જોયેલું હતું. લેટ મી ઓપન ધેટ પર્ટિક્યુલર પેજ. આ સર્વિસ વાળું પેજ હતું. સર્વિસ વાળા પેજમાં તમે જો અહીંયા આગળ આપણે સર્વિસનું નામ ડિસ્પ્લે કરતા હતા. So we have already used to this particular curly bracket to display the name, and today we are already using to display our variable name. આપણા વેરિયેબલ નું નામ ડિસ્પ્લે માટે બી curly bracket આપણે યુઝ કરેલું છે. So by using this way you can use this. Blade curly bracket echo statements are automatically sent through PHP HTML characters functions to prevent XSS attack. એટલે XSS attack જે છે એને ઓલરેડી પ્રિવેન્ટ ઈ કરે છે. હવે આ શું છે? ઈ સિક્યુરિટી પાર્ટ છે. ઈ સાયબર સિક્યુરિટી વાળા કોઈ મેમ્બર્સ હોય તો એના વિશે રિસર્ચ કરી શકે છે કે વોટ ઇઝ XSS attacks અને કેવી રીતે એને પ્રિવેન્ટ કરી શકાય છે. You are not limited to displaying the content of the variable passed to the view. You may also echo the result of the PHP functions. તમે PHP function નું result echo કરી શકો છો. That means you can call all PHP functions over here. For example, I am calling these functions as example. હું અહીંયા આગળથી time લખું છું brackets માં, and let me go to the browser. Let me see what is the output. You can see the things. So here it is displaying the time. A time display થઈ રહ્યો છે. Let me remove the remaining code. So let me refresh it. You can see the things. This is the time displaying. હવે અહીંયા time display થઈ રહ્યો છે basically. This is the time functions. Same thing, date function is also there. Suppose you want to use the date functions. Suppose you want to use some of the formatted date. You can. તો તમે यूज કરી શકો છો. પણ તમારે એના ફોર્મેટ આપવા પડશે. So for example, PHP date format. So date function will be having the arguments. You can see the things. So date format, we need to create the date, or you can use the direct current date as an argument. PHP display current date. Current date. So here is the particular date format. Date formats with argument like year, month and day. So let me write down the exact date format. So what I want to display it. So let me run that particular. So here is the exception because directly we have removed date. We have added the date. So here you can see the things. Date is displayed. So this is the today's date. Suppose you want to display that current date with, let's say, DDMMYY. So you can modify this syntax as per your requirement. For example, D is there, then slash is there, slash M is there, slash is there, and Y is there. For example, let me refresh that particular page. Now you can see the things. Date, month and year is there. But suppose you don't want a month as a 01, you want is instead of a January. Then there are some parameters of the date and time. So that you need to check out this particular manual. So here is the explanations. Suppose you want to hover in a 24-hour, then you need to write down the capital A. Suppose you want to hover into the 12-hour format, then you need to write down the small h. For minutes, something like this, I, second is there, lowercase a for the AM and PM. So you can write down the AM and PM something like this. So just check out this particular date manual, how you can display the date as per your requirements. Can anybody reply me that what is the exact date format accepted by MySQL? Which format is accepted by MySQL? Can you say your answer into the comment? MySQL કયું date to format accept કરે છે? We have already discussed. આ point આપણે already discuss કરી ચૂક્યા છીએ date વિશે. DDMMYY, no, DDMMYY is not there. YYMMDD is there. Perfect. રશ્મિ તમારો આન્સર પરફેક્ટ છે. DDMMYY આપણે યુઝ કરીએ છીએ ડિસ્પ્લે માટે, but MySQL is supporting only YYYY, MM and DD format. That video is already there for the core PHP fundamental. વેબ ડેવલપમેન્ટ ફંડામેન્ટલમાં ડેટનું આપણે ઓલરેડી યુટિલાઇઝેશન કરી ચૂક્યા છીએ. તો એ વિડિયો તમે ચેક કરી લેજો એકવાર. So let us go ahead with the next syntax. So let us go ahead. So displaying unescaped data. Suppose you want to display unescaped data, then you can use exclamation sign. વોટ ઇઝ અનએસ્કેપ ડેટા? તો કે એની અંદર તમારું એટલે તમારા કોઈ સ્પેશિયલ સિમ્બોલ્સ ને એવું તમે યુટિલાઇઝ કર્યું હોય તો એ બધું જ તમને અહીંયા આગળ મળી જશે. So that is called as a unescaped data. પણ that is a not secure data. જો સિક્યુરિટીની વાત કરીએ, જો જે લોકો સાયબર સિક્યુરિટી વાળા છે તો they will recommend do not use this exclamation sign. They will not allow to use this particular exclamation because this can create a problems in your code also, because the security lapsing અહીંયા રહેશે તો આગળ જતા તમારી વેબસાઇટ હેક થઈ શકે છે. પછી blade and javascript syntax. Suppose you want to ignore something, then you need to add the @ sign over here. તમે @ use કરી શકો છો. then after હવે માની લો php, suppose php if is there, તો અહીંયા if condition વાપરવું હોય then you need to use something like this. if માટે આપણે અહીંયા આગળ એક્ઝામ્પલ તરીકે જોયું હતું કે what we are using @if. you can see the things. હવે @if ને તમારે ઇગ્નોર કરવું હોય, suppose you want to ignore and you want to display something, then you need to write down @ તો આગળ @ કરશો તો remaining part will be ignore, automatically ignore કરી દેશે. પછી rendering JSON. Suppose you want to display some of the JSON value over here, then you can write down something like this. તો તમારો JSON encoding value display થશે basically. Here JS functionality is also there, so you can use this particular suppose and JS library to display that particular array. Here you can write down inside the curly brackets, double curly brackets ની અંદર તમે લખશો, that will be output directly. output માં આવી જશે JSON. Then verb time particular directives are there. So here is a particular content display is there. blade directives are there. So here is @ count records is equal to 1. So I have taken that examples from here also. Suppose you want to check whether that particular user is logged in or not, you can use authentication to check. This is the inbuilt authentication functionality provided by the Laravel that we are going to explore later on. કે કેવી રીતે આને આપણે ઇમ્પ્લિમેન્ટ કરવાની છે એ આપણે આગળ જોઈશું. But to utilize this particular authentication functionality, you can write down something like this. Then isSet is also there. isSet function is already there into the core PHP, but here you need to use @isSet. તમારે @isSet utilize કરવાનું છે. For empty you need to use @empty. So here everywhere @ is there. તમે જે જે વસ્તુ PHP માં વાપરી રહ્યા છો એ બધું અહીંયા આગળ વપરાશે, પણ here you need to add the @. So @ authentication is there, @ and authentication. So user is authenticated, that means user is logged in. @guest, that means user is not logged in. આપણે PHP માં validations કરવા માટે ઘણો બધો કોડ લખીએ છીએ. So here nothing, just you need to write down one line in a Laravel. So that is the benefit of the Laravel. If user is an admin user, so you can execute this code. If user is a guest user, then you can particular execute this code. Then environment directives are there. You can utilize the environment directives. Environment directives, that means whatever the settings you have stored for the Laravel. Laravel ની અંદર .env file માં તમે જે settings store કરેલા હોય. So we have discussed something like this whenever in a session 1 .env file is there. Some of the environment settings are over here. Like staging is there, production is there. We are right now ignoring that particular part because that is the advanced part. Then some of the section verification you can add like this. Then switch case you can utilize like this. Looping structure is there. We have already used the looping structure. For each loop is there. Again for each loop is there. Loop variable is there. So here is a loop, index, iteration, remaining, count, first. So these all are the properties available for you. So you can use this particular property. So here is example. For example, loop parent first. So here is a loop last, loop first. This is the first iteration. This is the last iteration. So you can verify something like this. So this is already provided by the Laravel. Then conditional and classy style. So you can use the conditions. Suppose you want to end the write down some of the PHP code, then you need to write down something like this: at the rate PHP, at the rate and PHP. Let's say suppose you want to declare the variable. For example, let me press the undo. So here is a, let's say, while loop is there, and I want to display some of the data, but here $I greater than 0. Sorry, $I is equal to 0. So that I need to write down with at the rate PHP. At the rate PHP, and we need to end with at the rate and PHP. So here is the syntax given over here. At the rate PHP is there. Then whatever your variable declarations are there, whatever your PHP code, you can write down any PHP code. It is not only variable declaration, any PHP code you can enclose within a at the rate PHP and at the rate and PHP. So this is my variable declarations. Then I can execute my while loop. So let me check out this particular about URL. So I think something is missing. Server is running. Let me open again. $I is equal to 0. At the rate PHP, at the rate NPHP, at the rate while $I less than 10, I display, then $I plus plus and while. Let me run the particular. Okay, so here is the error of the memory size. You can see the things. There is something issue of the memory size that may be related with the RAM. Let me run the particular application again. So here code is very less, but some issues are there. That way, I think variable creations are creating some of the errors over here. So there is something issue with particular. So not an issue. We will discuss that things in a later on part. Then you can use the select. Inside the select, you can use the for each like this. At the rate for each is there. So here everything is written. This is just the 25%. I have scrolled down. You can see the things. This is just a 25%. So many things are there to discuss about the blade templates. I'm not going to discuss each and everything, but the link is already given over here onto the day 3. You can check out this particular official Laravel docs link, and you will be landed to this particular Laravel official documentation. Just confirm these particular things, version from these particular options, whatever the versions you are using. Based on the versions, you need to write down that particular code. Just go through all the blade templates and do as much program as you can, so that these concepts and the syntax will be clear to you. Once your syntax is clear, we can go ahead with the next programming. We can go ahead with the day 4, but first you need to clear the syntax, because this is too much. So many things they have explained over here. but I cannot explain each and everything over here video. So here the link is there, just you need to go and do the practice. So if any basic questions are there related with the blade syntax or related with the questions like this, how to use the blade templates, let me know. Otherwise, we can conclude the session. So if any questions are there, just let me know. If no questions are there, then we will conclude the today's sessions. Once you do the practice of that particular blade templates, then we can go ahead with the next point. That is will be the day 4. So we can go ahead with the next points. તો કોન્સેપ્ટ સમજાઈ ગયો દરેકને? બ્લેડ ટેમ્પલેટ્સ કેવી રીતે યુટિલાઇઝ કરવાનું છે? કોઈ ક્વેશ્ચન હોય તો કોમેન્ટમાં પૂછી લો. ક્વેશ્ચન ન હોય તો વી કેન ડિસકન્ટિન્યુ ધ સેશન્સ. આપણે આવતીકાલે પછી ફરીથી મળીએ નેક્સ્ટ ટોપિક સાથે. ક્લિયર હોય તો ક્લિયર લખીને કોમેન્ટમાં જણાવી દો અથવા લાઈક મને કરી દો તો ખ્યાલ આવે બેઝિકલી. કોન્સેપ્ટ ક્લિયર થઈ ગયો છે? મને લાઈક કરીને જણાવી દો. ક્વેશ્ચન હોય તો મને ક્વેશ્ચન પૂછી લો. ચલો ધૈર્યને ક્લિયર છે. બીજા બધા મેમ્બર્સ રશ્મિ આદિત્યને ક્લિયર છે. ફાઇન, ધૈર્યને ક્લિયર, ડન. બીજા બધા મેમ્બર્સ ફટાફટ. ચલો તુષારને બી ક્લિયર છે. સો ડુ ધ પ્રેક્ટિસ ઓફ ધ લારાવેલ. વી વિલ અગેન મીટ યુ ટુમોરો. બરોબર, આવતીકાલે આપણે ફરીથી મળીએ છીએ નેક્સ્ટ ટોપિક સાથે. ચલો રવિને બી ક્લિયર છે. ડન. ચલો થેન્ક યુ વેરી મચ ફોર જોઈનિંગ એન ઓનલાઈન એન્ડ ઓફલાઈન સેશન. ઓકે, સ્તુતિને બી ક્લિયર